right, good evening. Been a few weeks since we were last together. I think two Sundays before Labor Day was the last. Speaking of Zane, just circumstances, travel, and whatnot have precluded the ability to have a speaking of Zane. But I'm glad to be back with the group. Thanks for joining on our 323rd edition of Speaking of Zane, where we are in the business of making sure that he's not forgotten and lots of other stuff. We figure a person dies twice, once when they take their last breath, and then again when their name is no longer spoken, hence Speaking of Zane. And we've been at it now for a little while. We're coming up on Zane's 10th, the 10th anniversary of his passing in January, and we've been at this since August of 2018. So 2.5 years or so after he passed. On a Sunday evening, I got the idea to just talk about him online, and here we are, all these years later, still at it. But good to have you all in here. I see Ken and Daryl. I know Lori will be joining. I just got home. You guys know I travel quite a bit. I had a visit to St. Louis, which is my most frequent trip that I take, and actually spent a little bit longer there than I normally do. Normally I go for 2, 3, 4, 5 days maybe, but this time I went on a Friday, came home the next Thursday. So I stayed over the weekend, which is rare when I visit there. But I went there. I went early to go to the NASCAR race, which was the Illinois 300. And the raceway there used to be called Gateway. Daryl remembers it. There's a drag strip right there on the property as well. But now it's sponsored by the company I work for. It's called Worldwide Technology Raceway. So we had a hospitality tent and all the stuff. So me and a bunch of my colleagues went and had a really good time there at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So that was fun. And I stayed, obviously I was there over the weekend, stayed most of the next week, this past week, and normal work stuff. And then on 9/11, Thursday, 9/11, I was able to mobilize several ad hoc military veteran details at the company I work at, and for the second year in a row now, we lowered our American flags to have staff to honor those that we lost on 9/11, which is now known as Patriot Day. And I had crews at our headquarters building. I had crews on our tech campus at 2 different buildings. I had crews at our integration center over in Edwardsville, Illinois, at 2 different locations there. And we had a really good turnout. We probably had all of those locations, veterans and observers, probably approaching 60 or 80 people that took time out of their day early in the morning, because we lowered the flags. Well, each of our properties has an American flag, obviously. Then it has the state flag. So at our headquarters, it's in Missouri, but over in our integration center, that's in Illinois. So the state flag, and then we have our company flag. So the crews lowered the company flag and the state flag first, obviously, and then at exactly 7:46 Central Time, the details were called to attention, and Present Arms was called, and um, the flag was lowered to half staff. So we're all synchronized. We had people in all those locations, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool, and it's just a small thing, of course, but takes a little bit of coordination, and I think it revives some patriotism in our employees who served, and it's a lot of fun. And which that was Thursday, and was the day after the Charlie Kirk assassination, which was Wednesday. Yeah. And that morning, I think we learned that the president had directed flags across the country be flown at half staff. So we were already doing it for 9/11, but we decided to keep them all at half staff until tomorrow. So in accordance with what the president called for, I think through Sunday. So we were able to adapt on the fly as we as we learned to do in the military. So I'm glad that we were able to do that. Cousin Toby's in there. Hey, Toby. Toby, guess who I got to meet yesterday? Yesterday? No, Friday. I got to meet Brian Jordan, former Brave Brian Jordan. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Steve's in there. Good evening, Steve. Surprised you're home. You're usually globetrotting somewhere, you and Kathy. Maybe you can tell us in the chat there where your next trip is going to be. Okay, let's see. Lori is still helping with our new granddaughter, Nyla, who's a couple months old now. There's Lori. And actually, they live across town in, where do they live, Lori? In Gwinnett County. So it's a good drive. It's an hour drive or so, depending on the traffic and the route that you take. So Lori's been staying over there with them and helping Hannah look after the baby, get Everett off to school and look after the baby so Hannah can go back to work. And Hannah's husband Kaleem is back in India right now for his brother's wedding. And then he'll be home this week, I think. Duluth, Lori says. Duluth, I think she meant to type Duluth. Yeah, that's where they live. So, but I did get to see Lori briefly. She came home and the baby was with her and our daughter Hannah. They came up and Lori stayed the night and then drove back over about midday today. And we'll be there, I think, until Thursday or Friday again. So I'll get to see her before I head off to London Saturday night for just a week on this coming trip. Christmas market cruise from Budapest to Prague. Excellent. That sounds great. Yeah, the Christmas markets in Europe are absolutely fantastic. London, Edinburgh, Germany, all over. Looks like Lori and I may be in London again this year in the Christmas period. So that'll be fun. So that sounds good, Steve. Let's see. Yeah, I was talking about the racetrack, Toby. Yeah, it's a nice little racetrack. It's a mile and a quarter, I think it is. It's the narrowest pit lane, I think, on the circuit. Maybe the narrowest front stretch too, but it is very crowded. It's a long one because the pit is almost the entire length of the front stretch, but it is narrow for sure. You probably saw that you're watching it on TV, but it's a fun little track. Of course, outside of the track, they have I forget the term they use for it, like the boardwalk, right, with all the vendors and all the food and drink and all of that stuff. Stages. There were 2 proper concert stages outside the track, and then the one on the infield. And there were concerts going on all throughout the weekend. They just it's a fun. They make it a fun time. Yeah, the Midway. Yeah, thanks, Toby. Yeah, and I see Mike Mary's in there. That's Toby's mom. Um, yeah, so it's a fun track, and the weather was absolutely beautiful for August. It was 72, 73, something like that. No humidity, and they can get pretty hot up there in the St. Louis area for sure during the summer. In fact, the temps creeped back up. I think this weekend, but for the weekend we were there, it was absolutely beautiful, sunny, and no humidity and cool temps. That was a lot of fun. It was a busy weekend in St. Louis because they had a couple of big concerts going on. There was a golf tournament going on. The Cardinals were in town, and the race was in town. So it was a very busy weekend last weekend in St. Louis for sure. All right. Well, let's see what else we got going. So Friday, Lori and I and our daughter Hannah too were invited by Zane's father-in-law, whose name is Dave Wallens, and Dave is an entrepreneur. He's been a businessman for 47 years, or coming up on 50 years. He's maybe a year older than me, but we remain friends with them. Obviously, they live here in the Atlanta metro, and we share grandkids. So there's a connection that we have there, even though Zane is gone. And Dave not only is an entrepreneur, but a philanthropist and very generous man. And he recently donated a sizable amount of money for some improvements and additions to their athletic department at Kennesaw State University, which is right in Kennesaw, just the next little town south of us. And our daughter Hannah is a graduate of Kennesaw State. But he has a connection with Kennesaw State. He mentors students there on entrepreneurship. He's on the board of trustees, and just has developed this connection to KSU. And they formally named the football field that's inside the Fifth Third Stadium, which is where the Owls play football. They named the field after Dave and Donna. It's called the Wallen Family Field. So the Friday night on the campus at the I forget what they call that building, Lori, but it's where Jackson's graduation ceremony, high school graduation ceremony, was at. But inside there's a hospitality suite and all this. And they had a big celebration and acknowledgement for Dave and Donna, and of the naming of the field. So it will forever be known as the Wallen Family Field at Fifth Third Stadium. So that's pretty fantastic. So and Dave and Donna invited us, and I was able to go. Lori was over in Duluth, but I was able to go Friday, and that's where I met Brian Jordan. Toby, and I don't know his exact connection to KSU, but he was there, which was kind of fun. There was a couple other people there, close friends and family of Dave, including the grandkids that we share. So I got to spend some time. They've been in town. We've seen them several times. They've been in town for a couple months over the summer. So Zane's two children. Oh, let me pull up a picture of them real quick and share with you. Zane's two children, Colton, who is our first grandchild, he's 13, and beautiful little granddaughter, Zane's daughter, Paisley. Put in the chat how old Paisley is, Lori. 10 maybe, something like that. Let me share. but they are the best. They are the best kids for sure. And you'll see when I find what I'm looking for here, you'll see um, you will see how much Colton looks like his dad. It's just uncanny, very incredible for sure. Here we go. There we go. Gotta find my buttons. There you go. So he's got the same face, nose, smirk, everything as his dad, and it's always a treat to spend time with him. He told me he's learning. He's playing guitar. He's got 3 or 4 guitars and knows everything about them. And he's playing, and now he's taking lessons, learning to read music and everything. And he told me, Granddad, I'm learning one of my dad's songs. We have some recording of Zane playing over the years, and so Colton is learning to play one of them, which would be fantastic. And his music teacher listened to it and put it, wrote it in music language, whatever that's called. I don't read music, but it's I can't wait to hear him play one of Zane's songs. But anyway, that's Colton there, and then that's Paisley, and Lori says she's 11, and she's absolutely adorable. She looks like her mom, spitting image of her mom, Abby, and and she's just got a heart of gold, and she's the only girl in that family. There's 6 boys. Will brought 2 boys to the marriage. Abby brought Colton and Paisley to the marriage, and they've since had 2, Bear and Kai. Lori, put in the chat how old Bear and Kai are, because I don't remember, but they are special. They are special. But one of them looks like exactly like their dad, and the other one favors his dad for sure. It doesn't look exactly like him, like Kai. But so I got to hang out with them. They're less interested in me at that age, but Colton and Paisley were happy to see me there. So that was a lot of fun to spend some time with them at the Wallens family field reception. Then of course I had the ball game was at last night at 6:00. The Owls did win, which was good. Okay, well, let's see, what else can I tell you? Yeah, stop sharing. Let's see what else is going on around here. Probably will not have a Speaking of Zane next week. I will be in London, and I'll leave on Saturday evening and arrive in London on Sunday morning. Oh, that's my normal way that I do it, because fly overnight, you land there in the morning, so you're able to sleep on the way over, and it's like you're waking up like the rest of them. It's a little bit of a cheat code there, but it works for me. It doesn't work for everybody's body clock, but it works for me. So I always like to arrive Sunday morning, and then I can make my way to the hotel and then find a Sunday roast, which I normally do, and then into the office on Monday, and then I'll be coming home on Saturday. So that'll be fun, and then I'm home for a couple of weeks, I think, and then back to St. Louis for a week, and then the following week up to New York. I'll share more about the New York trip with you after. It's military related, veteran related. Speaking of veterans, our son Jackson, our youngest son, is an Air Force vet, and you guys have heard over the years he went to flight training and solo, didn't complete his pilot's license, life got in the way, this, that, and the other. I think he still hopes to take that path at some point, but right now he's actually going to school for aircraft dispatcher, to be a professional aircraft dispatcher. So he's taking this course, and um, it the first gate is to consume all of this content in a classroom, and then take an exam. And he told me it's the second hardest exam that the FAA administers, and it's called the ADX, Aircraft Dispatchers Exam, ADX. And he passed. Yeah, he passed. So he texted me. It was Monday or Tuesday evening after he passed, and now he moves on to the next phase, and all in pursuit of staying involved in aviation. So very proud of Jackson. Lori would tell you Jackson is our youngest, but he was nonverbal. What, Lori? The first he didn't speak. He was nonverbal for like I don't know how many years till he was 5 or 6. Um, and all of this, and actually got held back in one of the early grades, and then went on to be fantastic in school, in high school, and then went on, of course, and served in the Air Force as an aircrew member on the gunship, and now he's a husband and a dad and all this stuff. He soloed all these things. He's just an incredible young man, and so now he's in pursuit of this aircraft dispatcher role. So I'm not quite sure of the duration of that journey, but we'll keep you guys informed on that. All right. Hopefully you guys have college football teams that you're following. And this is an exciting time of year if you're a college football fan. Saturdays, anyway. I did watch a good bit of football yesterday, culminating in the Texas A&M win over Notre Dame. That was a nail biter right down to the end. And I know a lot of the Georgia fans were worried with the Tennessee game, which I think didn't that one go overtime, I believe. But let's see who else we got in there. There's my cousin Cindy. There's my dad. Oh, hey, Dad, how's it going? Dad is coming up on a birthday in the month of October. Dad's birthday is October 11th. Yeah, October 11th. Yep. And he is still kicking 80, be 82, right, Dad? 80, he was born in 44. 82, I guess, 81 or 82. I never was good at math. 81, there you go, 81. Yeah, 44, yeah. 2024, yeah, 81. All right. And fit and healthy. Lost a lot of weight in the last year or so, which is great. I mean, he's feeling better than he has in a long time. Speaking of our grandson Kai, I believe he had a birthday this past week, didn't he, Lori? He's the youngest of Abby and Will's. A little redheaded boy, even more redheaded than Colton is now. And I think our friend Barb Pope, Amy's sister, had a birthday yesterday, I believe. And then the hat of the week. No surprise what the hat of the week is. Always has something to do with what's going on around here, whether it's to do with Zane or travel or anything here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. And I'm a hat guy. This is my newest hat. I got it at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. So there you go. That one was an easy guess. All right. Lori says yes. Kai's birthday was last week. All right, here we go. Veteran Cemetery Challenge. 31. Dad, that's incredible, isn't it? He's the age, yeah, 31. That's my brother Terry's oldest boy. 31. 31. Who else? Who was 30? Let's see. So how was Jackson, Lori? Jackson Jackson's not 30 yet. But Charlotte's 30. That's what I was trying to think of. Charlotte, our daughter Charlotte, was born just a little bit before Cody was born. Yeah, that's right. I knew there was a couple that were very close in age, they were cousins. All right, let's see. Daryl, I think it's been 3 weeks. I've got you down for at least 3 visits to Jefferson Barracks. You do a great job of chronicling your visits there. And then I know my dad and my sis make regular routine visits to Evergreen, where my mom's at, and a lot of my kin are at, including military veteran kin there at in Fitzgerald, Georgia, South Georgia. And then Lori and our little granddaughter Carson made a visit last week out to Georgia National to visit Zane. Lori, did you put flowers out? I think you said you were going to put flowers out. I was there the week before, and there were no flowers, and I didn't have any with me. I'm going to keep some in my truck, hadn't I, Lori? But so I made a visit out there. It was a beautiful day when I went out there. Sunny and a little bit cooler, no humidity. It's always fun to just walk around out there. Fun, not fun. Fun's not the right word, but it's relaxing to me. Sometimes I'll walk. It's the cemetery out there is in an oval, and it's about a mile, might be a mile or mile and a half. So I'll often do a couple of laps out there and get my steps in while I'm out there contemplating. And I saw this week Amy Walton made a trip down to Arkansas, and she, as she often does when she travels, just like Steve and Kathy do, got in. Well, like all of you that have traveled, you've taken in a cemetery along the way. But Amy visited Fayetteville National Cemetery and Fort Smith National Cemetery, both in Arkansas there. So thank you, Amy, for doing that and sharing it. So if I add up the visits I know about, we had 13 since we last met. So we're at coming up on 1,600 times that somebody from this small group has made a visit to a cemetery to pay tribute to a veteran, a relative or otherwise, and that's awesome. I am woefully behind on our map. You guys, some of you guys probably have never seen the map, but I put together a map that plots all the ones that we visited, and I know it needs to be updated. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I have not. So there you go on the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. And I know we had a lot of thank yous over the last couple of weeks. Let's see, Dad just put some in there. I'm going to put him down for, what's that, Dad? 5. Outstanding. Good old Coleman, Alabama. And so Dad's got 5. Lori and Carson, I think she said, what did you guys do, Lori? Thanked a Coast Guard, retired Coast Guard, maybe. Yeah, Lori's going to Hawaii. She just put in the chat. Charlotte, our travel daughter, who, by the way, just got home from Tokyo this afternoon. She flew direct from Tokyo to Chicago. And when she got to Chicago, she texted me and said, Dad, there's a lot of Aggies and Aggie fans in the airport. Of course, they played Notre Dame. But Charlotte's got a work trip to Hawaii in October, so I think Lori's going to go along with her. It'll be a fun trip. I can't make it. I'll be in St. Louis. Who picks St. Louis over Hawaii? I don't know, but I got to do it. It's cool. All right, so Jim, I saw Jim Miller had 3 Air Force thank yous. Lori had the Coast Guard thank you. Dad had 5 thank yous. And I had a total of 9, 10, 12, 13, 14 for the week. When I go to St. Louis, where I work, I often interact with fellow vets there, and I had 4 Air Force vets that I either thanked or had some interaction with, 5 Marines. I always have a good time with them. 3 Navy, and then 2 Army. Um, and I met a Army warrant officer who just retired after 20 plus years of service, and he's looking to get into the tech business, and he knows of our company, he knows about Cisco, all these things, and so I got matched up with him to be his mentor, and so I met with him for the first time on Friday, and so that was kind of cool to meet him. And those warrant officers in the Army, they're the technicians of the Army. They are very sharp, and this guy's no different. He's a sharp guy that just retired, and so now he's looking to get a little guidance and advice. And I said, yeah, I'll give you. I've got a lot of years of advice. I'll give you what I think, and you can do with whatever. But it was fun to meet him. So if I add up all of those vet interactions that I know of, we're at about 18. So pretty good. And our total count since we started this whole thing is at 3,682. So 3,682 times someone who has served or is serving heard from someone in this group, thank you, or I appreciate you, or whatever. So in my book, that's winning right there. So thank you all for doing that with us. Yeah, so you're getting some advice there, Lori, in the chat from Daryl, who was stationed at Hickam, and from Ken. We know Ken's story. His father is a Pearl Harbor survivor, and Ken has made that trip. I don't know how many times, Ken, you've been there, but yeah, the Punch Bowl, Lori, is I think is a must. I'm not exactly sure where Charlotte's conference is, but sure you guys will get it all figured out. Oh, Honolulu, yeah, okay. Very good, very good. All right. Well, I think that is it. The only other thing I added to our, I keep a running list of organizations that we're aware of, that we're connected to, that we're affiliated with, that we donate to, that we participate with, like Running to Honor, like Reach Across America, like My Warrior's Place, and all that. So I've added, I talked about this last speaking of Zane, but I've added the 50-mile march to our list of organizations. So Frank Williams, my friend, who walked to honor Zane and to honor Dagan Page, that is from Beaver Lake, that was killed in the trough in Afghanistan. Anyway, he asked me if I'd consider walking next year, the 50 miles, 50-mile march. And I thought about it, and I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm a regular walker. You do have to you have to meet some criteria. You got to demonstrate that you are healthy enough that you can make it. You got to do some trial things, and you got to raise some money. The whole thing is raising money for veterans, homeless veterans, and the like. So I would have to raise $2,500. Commit to pursue raising $2,500 as part of the deal, and then be able to physically do the 50-mile march. And if you guys remember, it's done in about a 24-hour period. Start at 11 in the morning on one day and finished at noon or so the next day. And the march was from Lincoln to Omaha, basically. Lincoln to Omaha. Everybody that knows Nebraska knows that's about a 50-mile journey there. But anyway, so I'm thinking about it. So I have submitted my interest online to their website and said I'm interested in pursuing this. So That doesn't mean I'm committed to it, but I just wanted to throw it out there and see what you guys thought about it. And, um, let me know what you think about that. And if anybody else wanted to do that, um, certainly consider it. Uh, I'm an older guy now, but like I said, I'm in the best shape I've been in 30 years. So I think I can do it. I think I can do it is the point. So, and I know Steve knows some people that marched in it. I think his old boss at work, and yeah, there was a guy who completed it in a wheelchair. Yeah, I watched it. They live streamed it, and I watched all, not overnight, but I watched all the when they started, and then the next day when they finished, and saw the guy in the wheelchair, which was incredible. Wow, can you imagine? What's our excuse, right? So I think I'll give it a try, but I'd be interested in everybody's opinion on that. Frank's actually older than me. I think Lori Frank's a couple, 2, 3 years older than me. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. That'll be up in Omaha next, I guess August. So I still have a year to really kind of train for it and make sure that it's smooth sailing for 50 miles across that period of time. And I'm sure I'll have to get a lot of advice on preparation and what to bring, what to have with you, socks, extra shoes, whatever. I know you kind of have to balance what you bring with you, but I'm sure I'll have plenty of that kind of advice. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that, and we'll see how things go. All right. Well, let's see. I think that's about all I've got tonight for Speaking to Zane. Sure appreciate you guys jumping in here. And I know sometimes I don't put the notes out till later in the afternoon on Sunday, but the default is that we will do it unless I say we won't. And it's next Sunday we won't, because I'll be 5 hours ahead, 5 hours ahead of East Coast time in London. So we'll skip a week and pick it back up. What would that be? We'll pick it back up on, oh geez, I'll be back on, I guess, the 28th. Yeah. So we'll pick it back up. We'll skip a week and pick it back up on the 28th. And look forward to seeing all of you back here again for another edition of Speaking to Zane. Thank you guys for being my therapist. This is my therapy, and I enjoy the process of preparing for it and then talking about Zane and everything that we've got going on. So thank you all, and have a great week, a blessed week, and we look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks. Cheers.